Padres win the series finale against the New York Yankees. The final score here this afternoon on a beautiful Sunday at Petco Park. The Padres 5 and the Yankees 2. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Joe Musgrove, a very, very solid outing. 5 innings and a third. He was really, really good in this game. Held the Yankees offense really in check. Musgrove only giving up 1 earned run in this game. The Padres trailing 1-0 heading into the bottom half of the 6th inning, but then the Padres end up scoring 4 runs, a lot of small ball type stuff in the bottom of the 6th inning. They got 1 more run in the 7th inning, and some really, really great bullpen work, specifically by Jeremiah Estrada, who was electric in this game. We'll get into what he did, and Robert Suarez picking up the save in this one, is 15th of the year. Suarez going an inning and a third, so another 4-out save for Robert Suarez. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. We'll also recap this game in its entirety, play you all the radio highlights, and in just a moment we'll hear from Joe Musgrove. I just caught up with Joe down on the field, and that's where the story, I think, begins here today. The Padres needed a good outing from Joe, and they needed at the very least for Joe to control this Yankee lineup, which came in red hot, better than Dylan Cease did last night, better than what Yu Darvish did on Friday night. This Yankee lineup had just been on fire. This team had been on fire coming in, and that's where it really starts today. Joe Musgrove starting his outing with 5 scoreless innings. He was really good. Musgrove got a no decision. We'll get more into what this game entailed as we go along, but let's play you my conversation with Joe on the field right after the game. Joe, this Yankees lineup came in red hot. You were able to navigate through the lineup pretty well. 5 scoreless innings to begin your start. How did you navigate through the top of that lineup and really throughout the course of the afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think seeing these guys for 2 nights and seeing their tendency, seeing their approach against guys that have similar weapons to me, Cease and Darvish both pitch off the breaking ball, and as good a fastball as Cease has, he is technically a thumber, a breaking ball type pitcher. So getting to see their approach, I mean, we had good success on them the first time around with Darvish, and the second time around going back to some of the same things we beat them with the first time didn't really work. They were sitting on that. They're not going to let you beat them twice with the same thing. So picking up on that and just trying to be, a little bit unpredictable, throwing some pitches and counts that I typically don't. We threw some backdoor sinkers today, which I haven't done all year. So, taking a little more chances and trying to exploit some of the things that we saw.
You mentioned the breaking ball. You're a guy that likes to spin it. You got a lot of swing and miss on the curveball and slider in particular. What worked so well with those 2 pitches?
I think I was just getting them in the zone a little more consistent. They hit breaking balls in zone, especially Judge, Stanton. Soto struggled a little bit with the breaking ball. We tried not to over abuse that and go to a pitch that we know we can beat him with. We still got to show him some pitches that he handles well. Just try to go to the spots and go there in counts where he might not be looking for it. So landing some breaking balls for strikes and really working off the corners down and away and expanding the good expanded pitches, not the wasted balls in the other batter's box. We executed that pretty well today.
How about the back end of the bullpen today? Specifically, Jeremiah Estrada comes in during that 6th inning. You've got to run out there, strikes out 2, strikes out 5 batters, every batter he faced. What are your thoughts on the way this guy's pitching right now?
Yeah, I mean, what is it, 10 in a row now? I think he's just got his confidence is at an all-time high. He's executing at an extremely high clip, and he's using his strengths. He's pounding the 4-seam to the top of the zone. He's got the splitter down below. Very tough to cover both those pitches. So I think he's doing a good job of deciphering what they're looking for and exploiting some of their weaknesses.
Joe, great job today. Thanks so much as always.
Yeah, appreciate it.
That was Joe Musgrove right after the game. Really solid outing for Joe. 5 innings and a third, 1 earned run given up. The Padres trailed 1-0 heading to the bottom half of the 6th inning, but they score 4 in the 6th inning, 1 in the 7th inning, and then the bullpen got the job done as they secure a 5-2 win over the Yankees on this Sunday afternoon. When we come back on our post-game coverage here on the Padres Radio Network, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll also have all the radio highlights for you, tell you how this one went down on this beautiful Sunday. Another sold-out crowd, and they were treated to a win. Post-game show continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Series. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Padres welcome in the Miami Marlins starting tomorrow. Series opener, by the way, just so you know, 3:40 p.m. start time tomorrow. So a little bit earlier than the usual Monday start time for Memorial Day. So 3:40 tomorrow. Padres will try to make it 2 wins in a row. But before we get to the series against Miami, we've got a lot to break down from this ball game here today. Nice win for the Padres. They improved to 28-28 on the year. Yankees still the record mighty impressive, but they dropped to 37-18 on the season. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's recap this one, how it went down on this Sunday.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
We had a real pitcher's duel early on. Joe Musgrove was great. 5 scoreless innings to begin his day with just 4 hits allowed. The problem was that Yankees starter Clark Schmidt was equally as good through 5, but the Padres did have scoring chances against him early. Runners on first and third with 1 out in the second, 2 on with 2 out in the third. Padres couldn't get a run in. So we went to the top of the 6th inning. Musgrove back to work, a 0-0 game. He allowed a 1-out single to Anthony Volpe. Volpe stole second. That set the table for Juan Soto.
So 3-2 to Soto. Here's the pitch. Juan swings, lines it into right. Fernando on the move into the gap. Reaches over, can't make the catch. It gets behind him and goes to the wall. Volpe rounding third, going to score. Soto into second, and the Yankees get the first run of the day.
That was it for Joe Musgrove. Jeremiah Estrada entered. He did a great job in the 6th inning, striking out both Aaron Judge and Alex Verdugo to end the inning and stranding Soto at second base. That was really important. Padres trying to answer in the bottom of the 6th inning, and they did. Jake Cronenworth reached on an error by Yankees second baseman Gleyber Torres to start the inning against Schmidt. Manny Machado walked. Schmidt came out. Left-hander Victor Gonzalez entered. Donovan Solano pinch hit and walked. So the Padres had the bases loaded and nobody out. Jackson Merrill then hit into a fielder's choice. That brought a run home to tie the game at 1. Padres still had runners at first and third base with just 1 out. In a tie game, Ha-Sung Kim first tried a safety squeeze bunt with Machado darting home from third base, but Kim bunted it foul. But you know what they say, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
Here's the pitch. Kim again trying to bunt towards first, pushes it to Rizzo. Bare hand play, thought about coming home, bobbled it, lost it, the run scores, and the Padres lead for the first time this series. It's 2-1.
That was ultimately ruled a hit for Kim, a well-executed safety squeeze, although if Rizzo picked it up cleanly, might have had a play at home plate. Padres certainly took it. They were up 2-1. Padres weren't done. There were 2 outs and runners on first and third for Luis Arraez.
Here he goes, here it comes, and Arraez lines it into center field, base hit. Merrill will come in to score. Kim's on his way to third as the throw comes into second. An RBI single for Luis Arraez, and the Padre lead is 3-1.
Aaron Boone came out to make another pitching change. This time he brought in Dennis Santana. There were runners on first and third for Fernando Tatis Jr.
Santana deals. And Fernando, little number up the third baseline. That's going to be trouble. Bare hand attempt by Santana. He's got no play. An infield single, another run, and the Padres lead it 4-1.
Jeremiah Estrada took the mound for the top of the 7th inning with the Padres leading 4-1. And by the way, just to recap that bottom of the 6th inning, the Padres got 4 runs. 3 of them were earned on the Yankees. Obviously, the error by Torres in the 6th inning really set the stage, but Padres they didn't do anything too fancy in that inning. In fact, they only had 1 base hit leave the infield in that inning, but they did score 4 runs. They had a 4-1 lead. So, to the top of the 7th inning, Jeremiah Estrada came back out, and he was electric. Estrada struck out the side. He faced 5 batters in his outing. He struck out each and every one. We're going to talk plenty about Estrada a little bit later. Padres tacked on in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Jake Cronenworth led off with a double against Caleb Ferguson. Manny Machado was next.
2-2, ripped down the left field line, a fair ball base hit into the corner. Cronenworth going to jog around third and score. Manny going to jog into second. Back-to-back doubles to begin the 7th, and a 5-1 Padre lead.
Padres would load the bases later in that inning with Yankees reliever Michael Tonkin on the mound against Luis Campusano. Campusano hit a liner right back at Tonkin. He caught it and turned it into a double play. Padres still led 5-1 after 7 innings. But against this Yankees offense, it just felt like nothing was enough. Wandy Peralta came on for the 8th inning. He got the first 2 outs, but then a couple of walks to Anthony Volpe and Juan Soto. Mike Shildt then brought in Robert Suarez to face the very dangerous Aaron Judge.
Soto at first, Volpe at second, 2 outs. 1-2 to Judge. Suarez ready. Here's the pitch. Judge takes right down the middle. Strike 3 called. Robert Suarez out of the bullpen to punch out Aaron Judge and send us to the bottom of the 8th.
So Suarez got the final out of that 8th inning. He came back out for the top of the 9th inning. Padres still leading 5-1. Alex Verdugo led off the inning with a home run, the opposite way to left field. Jose Azocar, who came in for defense in the top of that inning, leapt at the fence. He looked like he had it in his mitt and sort of collided, his mitt did, with a fan's hand. It popped out. It was a home run for Verdugo, a solo shot to begin the 9th inning. Suarez bounced back to strike out Giancarlo Stanton, but then a single for Anthony Rizzo. That meant the Yankees were just one base runner away from bringing the tying run to the plate, but Suarez bear down. He got a fly out from Gleyber Torres. The game was left up to the Yankee catcher, Jose Trevino.
Not going. And Trevino bounces it over the mound. Right by the bag. Cronenworth has it. Steps on second, and the ball game is over. Padre bats came alive in the 6th inning here this afternoon. And a great job by Joe Musgrove and the Padre bullpen to hold the Yankees down as the Pods take the final game of this series by a final of 5-2.
Nice win for the Padres as they take this series finale against New York. Final totals in this one for the Padres: 5 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left on 10. For the Yankees, 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. They left on 6. Jeremiah Estrada, the winner, he improves to 2-0. Clark Schmidt took a tough luck loss. He's now 5-3. Robert Suarez, his 15th save of the season, 15 for 15 in save opportunities this year, and a sold-out crowd here at Petco Park, 45,731. Great crowd, sold out throughout the weekend here on Memorial Day weekend in San Diego, and the fans treated to a nice one here today as the Padres win it 5-2. Let's go downstairs here at Petco Park and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
I imagine you enjoyed a lot of things about the way that 6th inning rally unfolded. What can you what did you enjoy the most, and what impressed you the most?
Really, the whole inning. I mean, it was just good at bats. You know, we were going to consistently stay on top of what we were doing, and just finally scratched through. And we scratched through. We made it work. You know, a lot of good things during that inning. Just quality bats the whole way from everybody, and so it's good to see Toddy get a break, right? You know, finally hits a ball that gets a break, and but I like Kimmy's bunt. You know, I thought that was nice, and of course later with Manny the ball down the line for some insurance was really nice as well.
How big could this be from Joe today?
Huge for Joe, huge for us. You know, he threw the ball very, very well. Took him right to where we wanted to take him to, gave him the benefit of the doubt, which he more than earned on Juan, and but he did really good. You know, the curveball was great, and threw the ball really well. But just good team win.
How do you sum up the dominance from Estrada lately and what he's been able to do to some really tough hitters?
Commanding the ball in the zone, being in the zone, conviction. I mean, this guy's got an elite fastball, and now he's got secondary pitches in the zone. It's just a lethal combination. I mean, he's throwing the ball. He set a record today, right? I mean, 10 straight punch-outs. Padre record, I believe. Is that accurate? Pretty impressive. Just did a tremendous job to come in and, get some tough hitters. Was able to get Judge to eliminate that inning and then go grab a clean inning in the 7th. So it was a fantastic job.
Do you remember, was there a time when you realized, what his stuff could be if he kind of put it all together and got it in the zone as frequently as he has?
Yeah, I mean, we saw, excuse me, we knew he had when he came in, and, we had the pitcher camp here in February or late January, and, was over at the lab, and, Ruben and Fritzy and the guys realized that we already knew from our R&D department this guy had a pretty special fastball, and now it was just a matter of making sure there was clarity to his secondary pitches, and then it was just a constant work. But there's a conversation with him, even at the end of spring training, like continue to get better, because he demonstrated a lot of positive things throughout the offseason with us, including spring training, and the messages continue to get better at some of these things. And if you do that, you can be a force at the back end of games. And so we saw it, but all the credit to Jeremiah. He's really worked hard and to stay on the attack.
You had Soto and Musgrove in the 6th inning. Wandy and Jeremiah were up.
Yep.
I'm wondering who you wanted Jeremiah to potentially face as part of that calculus.
Yeah, I mean, once we got past Volpe, we were going to give Joe the benefit of the doubt with Juan. I felt like he'd kind of earned it. I liked where his ball was, the way he was throwing it. And then at that point, we were kind of past Wandy, and we were going to bring Estrada in for Judge. So it was a little hitter by hitter. You don't like to have two guys up necessarily in the 6th, but we do have some fresher arms, and clearly a game we wanted to grab, and so we were prepared for about any scenario. But, we gave the benefit of the doubt to Joe to grab that 6th, and Soto.
What do you think the Tatis route looked like it was pretty close to cutting that ball off?
Say it again? Oh, yeah, man. He almost made another normal routine great play. Once he goes up in the air, you almost are like, yeah, he's going to catch it. So, but anytime it goes his direction, you feel pretty good that he's going to make a play.
As you try to sort through what and who your team is all season long so far, you're coming off 27 scoreless innings.
Mm-hmm.
You get outscored the first 2 games of the series 12-1, and then you get all kinds of people to contribute late today. There was 5, 6, 7 guys that all had a hand in runs late.
Yep.
How do you sort out the offense being a struggle for that long, and then you see that those contributions can be there from so many guys?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the good stuff, right? I mean, I mentioned the guys that contributed. I'm glad you brought that up because it gives me a chance to circle back to Jackson's at-bats. Crony, big knock. Pro's been really good for us. Obviously Arise, good at-bats. I mentioned Manny's double. Campy comes off the bench, hits a ball, drives to the wall, and then hits a laser back up the middle. Guy makes a nice play on. So we got contribution throughout the lineup. We just came off what, I'm going to get some of those people way smarter than I do to figure out the anomaly that just took place the previous 5 games at home. I mentioned last night because I did the research. 48 walks or 48 strikeouts versus 7 walks on the pitching side of it. 7-to-1 basic, K to walk ratio. Major League average 3-to-1. Then the flip side of that, now 11 of them were against Colorado in the first game of this 5-game stretch. But we walked 25 times and only struck out 32 times. So during that stretch, we walked 18 times more and struck out 16 times less than our opponent. And go figure, we didn't have a lead, much less, so you do that consistently, that's like 680, 700 baseball. So, to answer your question in a long fashion, I can't chalk up and say, listen, we can't be naive that none of it happened, but I also have to look up, and it was really an odd thing that I can't overreact to. Today, we just were able to cash through and execute better with runners in scoring position, and that really is the bottom line. And on the other side of the ball, right in the first inning, Joe hung up a 0 and was able to hang up zeros through 5. So, that's the recipe right there.
And kind
answer your question?
In kind of in the same vein, you guys beat the Dodgers, swept at home by the Rockies, win 3 of 4 in Atlanta, 5-2 road trip, come back here, struggle in the first 2 games. When the roller coaster is kind of like that and hard to explain and a little anti-common sense in terms of results you think you might get, how do you explain what you guys have done the last month or so in terms of all those kind of roller coaster outcomes?
It's really the outlier in the last 5 games prior to this one, because we're not trying to remove it, Bryce, but if you just win 6 out of 7 series prior to this one, but you win 6 out of 7 series, there's not a baseball person in the world that would say big picture like it's a roller coaster, right? That's why I don't get too hung up on, a couple games that don't go our way, and they're games that we don't play as well as we like, and that I won't alibi that. But if you're looking at a body of work over a season that's more of a marathon, and you win, 6 out of the last 8 series, you would say objectively it's a team that plays good, consistent baseball, and you would be right.
What makes the Estrada fastball special besides the velocity on it?
Well, the velocity is a part of it. It's the way it's just got its life, and again, I'm not the scientist to follow the metrics behind it, but it's an outlier fastball that just comes up and just absolutely explodes and disappears. And you can the data will tell you, but your eyes will tell you too when you see guys just boom, it's just on them. The first at bat with Judge, the first swing, and even with Giancarlo, similar. So your eyes tell you, but the numbers tell you the same thing. How he has it, I have no idea. I'm just thankful he's on our side and he's with us. It's good to see Coach Dutra at the game today. What a stud, man. Good to have a little support from the basketball coach. Yeah.
That was Mike Shildt after today's game, I should say, on a beautiful Sunday here at Petco Park. Padres win it 5-2 over the New York Yankees as they salvage this series finale in downtown San Diego. When we come back, we'll talk about Jeremiah Estrada, who, of everything today, was the most impressive guy in this game. I mean, what he did today and what he continues to do, it is awesome for him, number one, but it's awesome, number two, for this team and what it means for this team. So we're going to talk a lot more about Jeremiah Estrada when we come back. Again, the final score here today, Padres 5, Yankees 2. Much more to get to on our post-game coverage after this on the Padres Radio Network. .500 at 28-28. They have the Miami Marlins coming to town for the start of a 3-game series tomorrow. We'll have much more on that game coming up later. Yankees dropped to 37-18. They're off to Anaheim. But look, Padres did not play particularly well. The first 2 games of this series wasn't going great offensively through the first 5 innings. I know they didn't, sock the ball in the 6th inning, but hey, they took advantage of some bad Yankee defense. They found a way to put the ball in play. They end up scoring 4 runs in the 6th inning, tack on 1 more in the 7th inning, go on to win it 5-2. And to be honest with you, something we talked about yesterday, when this offense has been at its best, it has been a pass the baton type of offense where they string hits together. It's not all about the home run. And you look at the 6th inning in this one, Jake Cronenworth gets on after the error by Torres. Machado walks, Solano walks, then Merrill puts the ball in play. Fielder's choice ties the game at 1. Look, I like the decision, the safety squeeze bunt. You're trying to just get the run in there. Kim bunts it foul the first time. They went back to it. Then they forced Anthony Rizzo to make a play, and he could not. Now, it ended up being a base hit for Kim. Originally was an error, got switched to a base hit, but Rizzo probably, if he picks it up cleanly and makes a good throw to home plate, it looked like he probably gets Machado there, but he didn't. They put pressure on the defense, and Rizzo couldn't make the play cleanly. Then Arise, an RBI hit. Fernando Tatis Jr. hits 130, 35 feet up the third baseline. That ends up being an RBI hit, so the Padres found a way in the 6th inning, tacked on, and that was good enough today. And, hey, you got to win games like that sometimes, right? When just finding ways to put the ball in play, scoring runs any way you can, sometimes that is enough. The other really impressive part of this game, I would say the most impressive part of this game for the Padres, was the work of Jeremiah Estrada. And we'll get into what Robert Suarez did today as well. But Estrada was electric today. Let's tell you more about what Estrada did.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
3-2, swing and a miss. Estrada got him with a fastball, and Jeremiah Estrada has struck out each of the last 10 batters that he has faced.
Jeremiah Estrada, 5 up, 5 down in his outing today. 2 strikeouts to end the 6th inning, strikes out the side in the 7th inning. And like Jesse alluded to, going back to his previous outing, where he went 2 innings in Cincinnati and struck out the final 5 batters of that outing, Jeremiah Estrada has struck out 10 in a row going back to that outing in Cincinnati. So a couple of notes on Estrada. He becomes the first Padres pitcher in franchise history to strike out 10 consecutive batters faced. So that's number 1. Number 2, Estrada, if you go back to May 17th in Atlanta, and just to jog your memory, May 17th in Atlanta was the game where he closed. Remember that when Robert Suarez came in, 8th inning, faced the heart of the Braves lineup, and then Estrada came in for the save chance in the 9th inning, and he struck out the side? If you go back to that appearance in Atlanta, Jeremiah Estrada has struck out 15 of the last 18 batters he's faced. Think about that for a second. 15 of the last 18 batters he's faced, he struck out. He was electric today. And before I get into some other nuggets on Estrada, I mean, think about the situation he's coming into in that 6th inning. At that point in the game, Musgrove comes out. Juan Soto has just hit an RBI double to make it 1-0. So Estrada's mission there is keep it a 1-0 game. He's got to face Aaron Judge, strikes him out, looking. He has to face Alex Verdugo, a lefty, strikes him out, swinging. And then comes back in the 7th inning. This is after the Padres now have taken a 4-1 lead. Strikes out Stanton, Rizzo, and Torres. He was electric, and he is electric. Really impressive. There was a note I just read here. I'll credit the Twitter account, Foolish Baseball. I think that's Bailey, the YouTuber, but it's a good note here, and I assume it's correct. Assuming at least right now it's correct. Padres right-hander Jeremiah Estrada has a 45.5% strikeout rate and an 0.59 ERA. Only flamethrower Mason Miller of the A's has a higher strikeout rate than Jeremiah Estrada. So, look, it's no surprise there. We just told you about what he's done as far as the strikeout lately. But you cannot say enough about, number one, what Estrada has done as far as his effectiveness, the way he is just mowing down guys, striking them out left and right, but also what he's meant to this bullpen and this team. And I say that to make the point, we talked a lot in the first month plus of the season about the Padres not really having that bona fide setup eighth inning guy that they could absolutely go to and absolutely count on in any situation. And look, guys got that opportunity, whether it was Enyel De Los Santos, whether it was Wandy Peralta, whether it was Yuki Matsui. They could not find somebody that they could rely on day in, day out. Everybody had some issues in that spot at one time or another. Jeremiah Estrada, his ability to totally take over that role, not that nobody else is going to pitch in front of Robert Suarez in the eighth inning. On some days, of course they are. There's going to be matchups. Estrada's not going to pitch on some days. We understand that. But he has taken that role and absolutely run with it. And right now, he's the guy. Right now, the 1-2 punch in that bullpen is Estrada and Suarez. So Estrada was just tremendous again today. You heard Mike Shildt talk about it in the post-game press conference. The fastball explodes. The slider, it's a good, hard slider that generates a ton of swing and miss. And you just have to be awfully impressed with what this guy continues to do. So, again, it's not just the effectiveness, but it's also what he means to this bullpen now, the role he's taken on. He's really filled what you felt like was kind of a void in that bullpen of that bona fide setup guy you could go to in any situation. And when you throw this on top of it, it really becomes a remarkable story for the Padres, considering they claimed him off waivers in November from the Cubs. I'm watching this guy, and part of me is thinking, what were the Cubs thinking letting this guy go? So Estrada's been tremendous. I do want to touch on Robert Suarez as well, because he played a big role in this game too. Again, Robert Suarez's willingness to go get more than 3 outs played a role in another win for this team, and it's been so important. His willingness to go the extra mile out of the bullpen, even in the first 2 months of the season. You think about the eighth inning here today. Padres are up 5-1 at that point. Wandy Peralta starts that eighth inning. He gets the first 2 outs, but then he walks 2 in a row, Volpe and Soto, and my goodness, that's not the part of the lineup that you want to walk, because you got Aaron Judge coming up. So Mike Shildt, as we've seen him do before, got aggressive and brought in Robert Suarez. There wasn't any, it's not a save situation or what have you. It's, hey, if Aaron Judge goes and hits a home run, right now, this is a one-run game. We've got a brand-new ball game. So the game, in a sense, could be hanging in the balance right now if the Padres can get out of that inning. And Mike Shildt gets aggressive, goes to Suarez to face Judge, and Suarez strikes him out to end the inning. So that was a big moment in this game. Suarez ends up giving up a home run to lead off the inning to Verdugo. No big deal. Ends up being a save opportunity for Suarez, and he completes it. 15 for 15 now in save opportunities. I would bet his ERA went up a little bit, probably, right? Yeah, it went up to 0.76. So it did spike up a little bit after the home run. But look, bottom line is this. Zokar nearly caught the home run, so in an alternate universe, maybe he doesn't give up the run, but he was very good once again here today. Got the job done. And if Estrada and Suarez continue pitching like they're pitching in the back end of the bullpen, man, that's a really big deal for this bullpen and this team. That is a legitimate 1-2 punch in the back end of the bullpen, and both those guys deserve a lot of credit for what they've done the early part of this season. I had a great time watching Estrada today. He has been lights out, just electric. A lot of fun watching that guy right now. We'll step aside here on the Padres Radio Network. If you want to get involved, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can tweet at me at SammyLev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well. Sammy Lev there too, SammyLev. You can also give us a phone call. We'll be happy to take your phone calls on this Sunday, 833-288-0973. Again, the phone number, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call if you want to get involved that way. If you want to comment on our video streams, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you can do that as well. Happy to read your comments here on the air. What'd you think of this win? What'd you think of this series? What do you think about the Marlins coming to town? They're throwing 3 lefties in a row, so that's something to be a little concerned about considering the Padres' struggles against lefties. So we'll talk about that and much more when we come back. Again, the final here today, Padres 5, Yankees 2. More postgame after this. Finale of this 3-game series against the Yankees. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. A beautiful Sunday afternoon. Wonder what I should do to wrap up, well, not wrap up my Memorial Day weekend, but at least enjoy probably my only free evening. Well, tomorrow, 3:40 first pitch. Could get the late part of the evening tomorrow, but have plenty of the evening tonight, so got to decide what I'm going to do. Maybe go to the beach. Enjoy myself on this Sunday evening with the free night. Anyway, Padres win it 5-2 over the Yankees. Very nice win for the Padres here today. A 4-run 6th inning. They tacked on 1 in the 7th inning. Joe Musgrove, very solid in this game. 5 innings in the 3rd, 1 earned run given up. We'll replay my interview with him from after the game in our final segment in case you missed it earlier. And we will take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. We'll tell you about our player of the game. We'll hear our play of the game. Before we get to that, I just want to talk about one thing here because I was perusing the Padres schedule during the break. And with the Marlins coming to town, now, the Marlins have not played bad lately, and we'll get more into that during the pregame tomorrow, I promise. But they've played okay lately. They're going to throw 3 left-handers. As we know, that's been a problem for the Padres this season, left-handed pitching, kind of surprisingly and perplexingly, if that's a word. At least you're perplexed by it. But here's something to note as we now wrap up May and get into June. The schedule gets a little bit easier for the Padres, and this could be really a stretch through June 19th, I'll say, where the Padres could do some stuff, could rack up some wins. Now, not every series is super easy, and I say super easy in quotation marks because the Padres have had trouble against teams like you feel they should beat. But let me go through it here. 3 against Miami coming up, then Kansas City on the road. Royals have been good this year. They've been a really good team, so that's not a quote-unquote easy series. But then you got 3 in Anaheim. Should be a team you can somewhat handle. You got 4 against Arizona. Now, Diamondbacks, I think, will improve over the course of the year, but it's not like they've been great early on. You've got 3 against Oakland at home. You go to the Mets. Mets have not played well this year, although I think they're better than what their record shows, or at least I should say I think they will end up being better than what they are right now, but they have not played well. And then you go to Philadelphia. And I said June 19th. That takes us to June 16th through the Mets series. So the point being, we talked a lot about the really hard schedule for this team through the first month and a half, 2 months, and it really was a lot of good teams, a lot of series against teams that should be in the postseason mix. There are some softer spots of the schedule coming up when you talk about Miami, Angels, Oakland, Mets. Point being, this might be a good time for the Padres to pick up some steam, and they can do that starting this week against Miami, right? A team that you feel like at home, facing lefties, forget about the numbers they've put up against lefties this year. But from what we know about the Padres and their players and their lineup, and guys like Machado and Tatis and Kim, right-handed bats that should be able to hit left-handed pitching, you feel like this Marlins series, you should be able to win this series. You got to do it, but the point being, you're at 500 right now. Well, end the Miami series above 500. Hey, end it 3 games above 500. Go sweep them. So we'll see what happens over the course of the week against Miami, but just taking a look at the schedule here. See if the Padres can pick up some steam. They've been hovering around 500 for a while here. It's been 1 step forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, so on and so on. You hope there is an ability to pick up some steam here as we wrap up May and get into June. All right, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a moment. First, let's tell you about our player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Player of the game on the Padres radio network today. To me, it's pretty clear. Now, we gave Estrada relief pitcher of the game, and he certainly deserved it. But to me, Joe Musgrove is today's player of the game because when you consider the 5 scoreless innings against this very dangerous Yankee lineup, that put the Padres in such a better position to win this game than what they had on Friday and Saturday, where they were down early on Friday. They were down 7-0 on Friday after 4 innings. They were down 4-0 after 4 innings yesterday. I know the Padres didn't score in the first 5 innings, but the fact that Joe Musgrove was able to get through that Yankee lineup a couple of times and keep them off the board, folks, for as good as this Yankee lineup has been, to me, that's really impressive. This Yankee lineup had been raking, absolutely raking entering today's game. And we've seen it in this series the first 2 games. So Joe settling things down to start getting through just even the first inning. We talked about it pregame. We talked about that first inning as a key, and we said, hey, the Padres haven't been able to get through that first inning, the very top of the lineup, Volpe, Soto, and Judge, without giving up a run in the first 2 games of this series. They've got to find a way. Joe's got to find a way to get through that first inning, hang a 0. Get it going a little bit. And he did that, and then he rolled through 5 scoreless. All right, gives up the run in the 6th inning. Estrada comes in, strikes out a couple of guys, keeps it 1-0, sets the stage for the 4-run bottom half of the inning. But to me, Joe Musgrove throwing 5 scoreless innings to start his outing against this lineup, that was really important in this game. That's why Joe Musgrove is our player of the game. A lot going on around the major leagues today. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues. Let's start with the one game that has not been played yet, and that is in St. Louis. Looked like they had a lot of rain in St. Louis today. There was a rain delay before first pitch. That's Sunday night baseball, so delay there. It could be a late night in St. Louis, and the Cardinals and Cubs will get underway maybe at some point when the rain goes away, but they are delayed before first pitch in St. Louis. Everything else final on this Sunday. Tigers beat the Blue Jays 14-11 in Detroit. Matt Vierling, a walk-off 3-run home run to win that one for the Tigers. How about the Reds? They beat the Dodgers again, 4-1. In Cincinnati. Reds sweep that series against the Dodgers in Cincinnati just after the Padres took 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati. So, hey, that's something to smile about. Reds sweep the Dodgers. Braves beat the Pirates 8-1 in Pittsburgh. Matt Olson a home run in that one for the Braves. Red Sox beat the Brewers 2-1 at Fenway Park. Mariners beat the Nationals 9-5 in D.C. Ty France a 2-run home run in that game for the M's. Rays beat the Royals 4-1 in Tampa Bay. Mets came back to beat the Giants 4-3 in New York. Omar Narvaez won it for the Mets in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Narvaez, an RBI single, walk-off single to win it. Mets actually trailed in that game 3-1, and they score 3 in the bottom of the 9th inning to come back and win it against the Giants. Orioles beat the White Sox 4-1 in Chicago. Kyle Bradish was awesome in that game for the Orioles. 7 no-hit innings in that start against the White Sox. Rangers beat the Twins 6-2 in Minnesota. Corey Seager, a 2-run home run in that game for the Rangers. Rockies beat the Phillies 5-2 in Colorado. Ryan McMahon, a home run in that one for Colorado. Guardians beat the Angels in Anaheim 5-4. Astros beat the A's in Oakland 5-2. Kyle Tucker hit his major league leading 18th home run in that game for Houston. Marlins beat the Diamondbacks 3-1 in Arizona, and now the Marlins will head to Petco Park for a game tomorrow, the start of a 3-game series. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday across the major leagues. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. When we come back, we'll have our play of the game. We'll get you ready for the series opener against the Marlins tomorrow. If you want to squeeze in a comment, a tweet, an Instagram DM, a phone call at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. You can do that. We'll squeeze you in, and so we'll wrap things up, get you ready for tomorrow. Padres win it 5-2 over the Yankees. We wrap up our post-game show after this. Inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. A gorgeous Memorial Day weekend here in downtown San Diego. Bright blue skies right now. Like I said, I think I'm going to the beach. Wrap up my Sunday at the beach once I'm out of here. So we'll be out of here in a little bit. We'll have our play of the game coming up in a moment, and we'll also get you ready for this series against the Miami Marlins. I do want to take a moment to shout out the fans here at Petco Park because today's attendance, 45,731. It was the 16th sellout of the season here in downtown San Diego. But it also, the 3 sellouts this weekend, it set a new record for a 3-game series at Petco Park as far as attendance. The total attendance this weekend was 134,081. That beats the previous record from earlier this month of 133,970. So, again, the total attendance through this weekend, 134,081. So, congratulations to the Padres on that, and congrats to the fans. Nice job. This weekend continues to be just stellar crowds here at Petco Park. First 2 games of this series, sold-out crowds didn't have a whole lot to cheer about from the Padres side of things, but certainly a much better result here today as the Padres win the final game of this series. Let's hear our play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's play of the game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Here he goes, here it comes, and Arise lines it into center field, base hit. Merrill will come in to score. Kim's on his way to third as the throw comes into second. An RBI single for Luis Arise, and the Padre lead is 3-1.
Luis Arise, a hit in this game, an RBI single, one of 2 hits on the afternoon for Arise. That made it 3-1, gave the Padres some breathing room. Fernando Tatis Jr. would have the infield RBI single later in that 6th inning to make it 4-1, cap a 4-run frame. And today's play of the game, the Luis Arise RBI single. Felt like a big hit at the time because 1-run lead against this Yankee offense, you're thinking that's not going to be enough. But 2-run lead, you felt like a little bit more breathing room. The amazing thing about that 6th inning was that the Padres had 1 hit that went into the outfield in that entire 4-run inning. You think about it, the error by Torres. So I'm going to count also the number of batted balls that actually went into the outfield. But I'm going to break it down as we go. Jake Cronenworth reaches on an error by Gleyber Torres. That's a ball Torres should have fielded cleanly, so that really shouldn't have even been a ball that went into the outfield, but that was 1. The walk, another walk, fielder's choice, the safety squeeze bunt. Then you had the Arise single, so that was 2 balls into the outfield. The Tatis little roller. So, again, in the inning, there were 2 balls that even touched the outfield grass, and one of them was on an error. So it was a weird inning, but sometimes you got to get it done that way. And the Padres, look, they did take advantage of Yankees' mistakes. The Yankees didn't play a very clean game today, and they found a way. And some days that's good enough. And, hey, with the way the Yankees are playing right now, I'm not saying the Padres that you should be happy that they lost this series. They dropped 2 out of 3, although I will say that losing 2 out of 3 is a whole lot better than getting swept in this series. But this Yankees team, they're playing really well right now. I mean, they didn't look it today, but considering how good they've been, how dominant they've been, not just with the offense, but the pitching as well, especially the starting pitching. By the way, Clark Schmidt was not bad today in his start. I'm not going to go crazy over losing 2 out of 3 to this team right now because, number one, they're really good, period. And number two, there's a little bit of it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And the Padres got this Yankee team when they are red hot right now. So, doesn't excuse losing the first 2 games, but I'm just saying it's better than getting swept. You managed to win 1 game, turn the page, and now you welcome in the Marlins. So let's talk about that Marlins series. 3:40 p.m. first pitch tomorrow on Memorial Day. Our pregame coverage will begin at 2:40. It'll be right-hander Michael King against left-hander Trevor Rogers on the mound for the Marlins. The Marlins are going to throw 3 left-handers in this series. Rogers, then Jesus Luzardo, then Braxton Garrett. And we know the Padres have really, really struggled against left-handed pitching. So it's going to be a tough test for this team. They're going to have to hit lefties, and we'll see if they can do that tomorrow against left-hander Trevor Rogers. Every Sunday is Military Sunday, and we want to take time to recognize and thank all military members for their amazing dedication and service. San Diego County Toyota dealers, proud partners of the Padres, are honored to support San Diego's military community. Taking a look at the final totals here today. For the Padres, 5 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left on 10. For the Yankees, 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. They left on 6. Winning pitcher in this game was Jeremiah Estrada, and man, did he earn it. 5 up, 5 down, 5 strikeouts. He's now 2-0, his second major league win. Losing pitcher was Clark Schmidt. He drops to 5-3, and the save goes to Robert Suarez, his 15th of the season. Suarez now 15 for 15 in save opportunities. Time of game, 2 hours and 56 minutes, and the crowd here at Petco Park, the 16th sellout of the year, 45,731. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 3:40. Our Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show begins at 2:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Frank Marchese, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from Petco Park. Again, the final score here today, the San Diego Padres 5 and the New York Yankees 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon here at Petco Park on the Padres Radio Network.